Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mundane Matt, and yay, today, finally, we got our first Donald Trump press conference in about 6 months. For some reason, both he and Hillary Clinton at the tail end of the election just outright stopped talking to the press, stopped fielding those questions. And after Trump became president elect, it took him 2 months to even, I don't know, throw together something to answer questions from the media. And some out there might argue, well, why should he? They post slanderous articles about him. They talk down to him. They're unfair to the Donald. To which case I'm like, who gives a shit? They're still the media. He's still the president-elect. There needs to be a bond formed. There needs to be trust formed. And yes, they've been unfair to Trump in some cases, and they've been very, very, very light on him and others. But that still needs to happen. Obama tried shutting out Fox News at the beginning of his presidential term in 2008, and fucking people lost their mind, and eventually that went away. All right, eventually it did. But the thing is here is Trump needs to get that bond. He needs to be the bigger person. I don't think that's entirely possible at this point. I don't think that's ever going to be possible. But at the same time, him not being the bigger person is one thing that people actually like about him, which is kind of frightening to me, to be honest with you. I understand a little bit of shit posting. I understand a little bit of trolling. I understand all those things. But when you're the president-elect and you're going to be representing the highest office in the fucking world, representing America, like the fucking leader of the free world and shit, a little bit more decorum would be fucking appreciated. And he might just be trying to get it all out of his system right now before taking over. But I don't think so. I don't think he can fucking help himself. And truth be told, after watching this press conference, of which I was informed ahead of time, that Trump eviscerated CNN, he destroyed BuzzFeed, and he killed it. None of those things I saw. At most, I saw a person throwing a temper tantrum. But to be fair, and I'm being honest to God objective here, he has good reason to. Lord knows if there was an intelligence briefing making its way around the upper echelons of the United States government that depicted me as a person who enjoyed golden showers, and it was caught on tape by the FSB, I might be a little upset. And I think actually if it was me, I'd be like the president of Indonesia and be like, let me see what you got. What is this? Because I spent a lot of time on 4chan, so I've seen some shit. You know what I mean? So I'd be like, what's the worst you got? Oh, they peed on themselves. I didn't do shit. 'Cause that was the other thing, too. Trump never actually denied those kind of claims. Because there were 3 claims inside of that dossier that talked about sexual activity. Once was at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel at the presidential suite, although apparently they don't have a presidential suite, so that kind of calls furthermore that story into question, although to be fair, a lot of that was already was called into question. But Trump's like, I'm a germaphobe. Yeah, but that little post too, just again, to be fair, never actually said that he engaged in any kind of golden showers with them, right? That he hired them to defile a bed that Michelle Obama had stayed on. That's what they said, right? So it wasn't like he was sitting there and laying on the bed going, pee on me, do it. I'm DJT. Pee on me, DJT. Hashtag. He didn't do none of that shit. Right? But it's more or less like that scene from True Lies where Schwarzenegger just watched Jamie Lee Curtis striptease. That's the thought that came to my mind. It's just Donald sitting in a chair, one hand on vodka, one hand on his junk, watching these girls just fucking pee all over the place. Look, whatever gets him off. The dude's, he's under a lot of stress running a multi-billion-dollar business. As long as everyone's over the age of 18 or I believe the legal age of consent in Russia is at least 14. As long as they're over the legal age of consent in that great country. I'm kidding. The point is like he never outright denied those claims. He denied other claims, okay, but he dismissed the claims about some of those aspects of Russia. But he kind of like skirted around a few others. And that was how I took that. It was more along the lines of him acting very similar to like the FBI and the CIA and their comments last night after BuzzFeed dropped that bomb, as more like no one's denying it necessarily, but they are dismissing it and kind of skirting around it. I think because if they were trying to like come out and deny it heavily, then it would be like, well, what are you trying to hide sort of thing versus like dismissing it maybe like lessens the impact. But that being said, I don't really think he watched some chicks piss on a bed. All right, I don't think that at all. But that again took center stage to like the actual question, which was the treasonous accusations of Putin trying to groom Trump to become president. Right, that was part of it. So it's one of those situations where you just kind of have to take it all in stride and kind of laugh at it at the same time. But Trump's response to it, though, again, was quite telling. When he called BuzzFeed garbage, most people agreed with him. BuzzFeed is garbage. Ben Smith was on MSNBC this morning, very much attempting to defend what they published. All right, but they did at least come out there and say, this is unverified, this is unproven, we don't know what it, if it's true, but this is a document that's been circulating its way around. That piece of it is news. CNN ran with it and said, this is what's been published based upon documents that have been circled around the US government. And so again, unproven. So people were kind of jumping on CNN and jumping on BuzzFeed for this, calling them unethical and everything else. But they were kind of within the realm of it. All right. Like if BuzzFeed didn't leak it themselves, they could discuss it. Or in the case of this, they did leak it essentially or publish it. So they didn't even really disseminate it. They just went with it. And CNN, under the First Amendment, has the right to discuss the information, just like almost every other fucking, commentator out there was discussing the information, right? So you have those issues at play. Not saying it's a perfect system, not saying that it's a perfect situation, right? I don't necessarily think that they should have published those documents because they didn't do anything. There's no smoking gun in there. There's no soaking mattress in there. There's none of those kind of things. But when I look at this press conference and how the president-elect responds to it, when he outright starts denying answering questions from CNN reporters, then the press secretary goes over to the CNN reporter and says, if you don't shut the fuck up, you're booted, right? That is a very telling sign of what's to come over the course of the next 4 years. And again, a lot of Trump supporters are going to be like, fuck those guys, fake news motherfuckers, all they do is push that bullshit. You know what? Trump pushed a fucking fake birth certificate for 8 goddamn years. So get off your goddamn high fucking horse. Seriously. You want to talk fake news? That bullshit's fake fucking news. And your president-elect, or hell, fuck our president-elect, was running on that fucking bandwagon the whole goddamn time. So, one's okay, but the other one's not? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. That's the problem where things are at right now with this particular situation. Trump acting the way he did with CNN, bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Saying that, that they're that they're trash, that they're garbage. It's not how you treat the media. All right? It's not. There has to be that bond. There has to be that connection. Do they need to do a better job? Absolutely. But does he need to meet them halfway? Absolutely. It's a tough situation. But what cracked me up the most about this entire fucking press conference boiled down to, one, that gigantic pile of papers out there, right? Like that gigantic pile of papers that was meant to showcase some of the documentation he had signed to turn over his company to his sons, which ethics officials have already said completely fails any standardized test for ethics because of how they're doing it. Two, when he had his counsel come out there and she's talking about how they're trying to make sure everything is on the up and up and so on and so forth. By the way, that law firm was granted the award for Russia's best law, basically the best law firm in Russia last year. So, whoops. I don't think that has anything to do with anything. I just thought that was kind of funny that they were, it's like, oh, there's that connection, more Russia, right? So you got that. But when she's out there and she's just like, there were deals that Donald was doing that were put to a stop when he became president-elect. And it not only cost him, but Eric and Don Jr. and Ivanka millions of dollars. And I'm just going, what's this? It's the world's smallest violin. Because you're losing millions of dollars. And you already have millions of dollars. So go get fucked. Because I don't fucking care. No, seriously, I don't care. That's not going to win me over as a person being sympathetic to Trump. Never mind the fact that just a few minutes earlier, Trump was talking about a deal in, was it Abu Dhabi? And he's like, it was a $2 million deal. $2 million. I turned it down. I didn't have to, but I turned it down. And it's like, you turned down $2 billion. A $2 billion. Again, small's violin. For a dude that goes out there and he basically sounds his own horn about how much money he has and how much success he has and how much wealth he has and how much he's accrued over the years. Going up there and kind of semi-whining about a $2 billion deal that he chose not to go through on. I don't give a shit. That's not gonna make me reach for my Kleenex and go, poor Don, poor Donald. He catches, he just never catches a break, right? I mean, come on. Trump at this point in time, based on what I've read, I understand he is trying to walk that ethical line, and for that I do give him credit. But I also wonder if his business is so entrenched in these particular endeavors that there's no way to unwind it. There's no way to snip it off for a clean break. When he says he's not going to have any indication or any evidence, or sorry, any information about his businesses outside of what he reads in the paper, is horseshit. Is horseshit. All right, because when you give your company to your kids are going to call you going, oh fuck, Dad. I don't know what to do here and shit. And Ivanka's walking away from her stuff as well. All right, all of these things are happening. Trump's taking like a leave of absence. He's not separating the ties. He even said at the end of the press conference that in 4 years or 8 years, when I go back and they've done a good job, I'll tell them good job, and if not, I'll say you're fired. Well, if it's no longer his company and it's no longer and he's no longer in control of that, and he's no longer having an interest in this due to the fact that would be considered an unethical action. And those kind of ethical violations were something his attorney or his counsel was talking about, then how would he have that say? How would he be able to use his attempted trademark catchphrase in order to stop this? Right? Again, there are things there that I'm just looking at going, there's no way that this is going to end well for Trump. Now, I'm not saying he should quit the job and go, try to get out of being the president and all that kind of jazz. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying like what he's attempting to do, from what I can see, is not necessarily working. And this press conference, outside of the Russia BuzzFeed shit, really kind of showed us a number of things involving ethics, which means a lot to me, is important to me. So I've been following that as much as I possibly can. And so I'm curious to see what's going to happen next. But I guarantee you, if he doesn't get this shit solved, there's going to be straight up fucking impeachment talks. As soon as he fucking says, I do, or whatever the fucking saying is, and they slam the gavel, or he touches the Bible, or, I don't know, he gives fucking Pence and HJ at the fucking stand. I got no idea. But as soon as that happens, there's going to be talks of impeachment. He's got 9 days to solve all those issues. And I know he's working on it. I get that. I do get that. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to work the way he wants it to. And he's out there saying he can do all these businesses. He could run Trump and then also run the country. Like he was bragging about that. Like he's like, I could do this, but I'm not going to do this. Again, that shouldn't even be part of the discussion. But this is Trump, and Trump likes to brag, and he likes to be that big dog on campus. And right now he's feeling top of the world, which, hey, to be fair, the guy's got every right to be. But for the rest of us, right? For the rest of us, we are going to have to look up to a commander-in-chief who brags about the size of his dick when it's challenged. We have to look up to a commander-in-chief who attacks fucking former, fucking allies and shit who took over his reality TV show and the ratings aren't as good. A guy who goes after SNL like it's going out of fucking style every goddamn time that Alec Baldwin's on there. And that's going to be a lot more coming up in the next couple of years. All right. This is a guy who we have to look up to. And I know that's his actions are refreshing to some people, but that's going to go old real fucking quick. Because when people start talking about a fear of a war breaking out over comments on Twitter, I'm not saying that there's validity to those comments. I'm saying that to an extent, there's a reasonable amount of fear to be obtained from those types of comments because you don't know what the snowball effect is going to be. Trump cannot control himself when he speaks. Trump cannot control himself on Twitter. And it doesn't matter if he gives his phone to somebody else and they type it in there. He's still dictating it. They're just the fucking pawn. Without a person there to control him, to control his fucking stupid public outbursts, we could be in a far worse place in the next few years than we are right now. And the thing is, though, it's not an all is lost situation. All right, as I've said, I wanted Bernie. I'm never going to change my mind on that. All right, but I am willing to give Trump the benefit of the doubt, but his actions have got to change. And we as a country, we as a people need to hold him accountable to those kind of things. Too many people are too apologetic for him, which is so funny. It's so goddamn funny. This is the kind of shit you would rake Obama or Hillary over the coals for, but because God Emperor Trump does it, you're like, it's all good. It's fine, right? No, it's not fine. We need to hold him to a higher standard. And so far, we're not seeing a lot of it. All right. But I don't even know if that's because he surrounded himself with people that are just yes men. I was watching Kellyanne Conway on Seth Meyer the other night, and it's just like she was so oblivious to what Seth was getting to, and she was just, trying to like push out these talking points that to back her own narrative. And I'm like, I get it. She's a cheerleader for the fucking organization. I understand that. But it's also like, this is the kind of media mentality these people have. They know how to manipulate people, and that is not good. But this thing's gone on long enough. I expect the dislike ratio to be very high. That conference did not instill faith in me as an American citizen looking forward to the 45th president. That press conference showed me rich people being upset about turning down or losing money, and then also bitching at the media for running a story based on an intelligence briefing that had been circulating for a number of months. Alright everyone, that wraps up this video. My name is Mundane Matt. Be sure to give it a thumbs up, comment below, subscribe if you're new, check back daily for more content from me, or if you want to know about my life, check out Mundane Chats, or top 5 videos that are awesome as fuck, forbidden knowledge right here. Talk to you guys later, have yourself a good day, and peace out.